Hi all and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be going over are the Games Workshop Battleforce boxes actually worth it, and do they actually keep your value or offer the same value that they used to? Back in 2021 when I first started getting into Warhammer, we had a lot of Battleforce boxes coming out that year. And I am curious, in the 2024 season, after almost 3.5 years of collecting Warhammer and playing it, am I still getting a good deal? Also, sorry if this video is coming out a little bit late. I started recording and working on it, but then a whole bunch of stuff happened. It's the holiday season, things always happen, and this just kept getting delayed. Still got it out in time before Christmas, but probably after most of you made your purchases, but I still think this is a very interesting video and thought experiment into just the values of these boxes and what you get out of them, and how it holds up to 3 years ago. We're going to start by going over the 2021 Warhammer Battleforces, followed by the 2024 Warhammer Battleforces. I am going to break down each of the boxes and what they have in them, and then at the end we will compare values as a whole. I am not as interested in each kit's individual value, more just what the box itself holds in its value, or is worth today. All of these Battleforces retailed for $210. With all that being said, let's jump right into the Space Marines. In the 2021 Christmas season, the Space Marines had the Shieldbreaker Strike Force, a unit of heavy intercessors, assault intercessors, storm speeder, captain, and blade guard. All in all, this is actually a really good starting force, but not as good of an add-on force. These are all minis you would probably get early on or in the Indomitus box, or probably would not complement what you get in the Indomitus box that well, all things considered, but not a bad start to the faction. At least in my opinion. Next up, we have a Plague Fester Warband for the Death Guard. Plague Marines, a Plague Champion, an Icon Bearer, some Death Shroud Terminators, Plague Burst Crawler, and Blight Haulers. A pretty good and solid Death Guard force that is a good start point for anyone and actually would be a good buy if you wanted to increase a lot of your minis. Not a bad one, GW, not a bad one. Next up is the Necrons World Score Legion. We have some Necron Warriors, Ophidian Destroyers, Flayed Ones, Heavy Destroyer, Psychomancer, and Doomstalkers. This is the first Battleforce box I ever purchased, and I absolutely love all of the value I've gotten over it, except maybe the Ophidians. I don't really like them that much. All in all, a great Battleforce box, and also retailed for $210, or slight discount, friendly local game store, but that's not what we're going with today. Next up, we have the Kildaka Warband, something I really wanted and I kind of regret not getting. We have 2 boxes of Orc Boys, Knobs plus Gretchen, a War Trike, a Shock Attack Gun, and a Daka Jet. A really good solid start to Orcs, and I find it weird I'm continually praising these battle forces. The Adeptus Mechanicus Purgatos mission is something I got later on and I heavily regretted. While it has a lot of cool minis, the Battle Sisters, Exorcist, Sister Dogmata are all good. The Immolator, the Sacrosanct, I don't know, I didn't like those 2 models that much, which is weird. The Immolator is technically amazing, but in my opinion, this is not as good of a battle force. The Sisters tanks are not their best part, and while you can get it to get 2 of the vehicles, which I guess are technically not tanks, and next up we have the Da Vinci-looking Omnissiah's Talon. We have the Skitarii, Dune Strider, Taraxi, Cerberus, Ruststalkers, Manipulus. I hope I pronounced all those right. Some of them might have blended together. I don't know Adeptus Mechanicus terminology, but again, retailed for $210 like all the other Battleforce boxes. A pretty good solid deal and a good start into Adeptus Mechanicus, especially with today's values. Next up, we have the 2024 Battleforces. All of these retail for $240, a $30 uptick, and in general, I do not think were worth it. Or are worth it. There might be one exception. Starting with the Adeptus Sororitas Penitent Crusade host, we have some Repentia, some Mortifiers, a Ministorum Priest, some Arcoflagellants, and 2 Rhinos. I think this is absolutely terrible and nobody should have bought it. This is a not great start to this force. I don't think it is a good representation of Sisters. I don't like this battle force. I don't know why. I just inherently do not like it. It feels like less value than the last one. Next up, we have the Tau Empire Retaliation Cadre. we have a Riptide, a Broadside, a Tau Commander, and a Ghost Keel. Really easy to go through. Again, pretty decent value, but you get not that many minis out of it. But value per dollar, you get good deal. Now, on the exact opposite, the Hypercrypt Legion looks pretty worth it. You have the Necron Warriors, the Triarch Praetorians, the Lich Guard, the Overlord with Translocation Shard, and the Void Dragon. Pretty darn good value for your money. You get a new mini, a $140 mini, I want to say, for the Void Dragon, the Triarch Praetorians, which can also be built as Lich Guard, which is really good because you can pretty much get 10 of either one, and then the Necron Warriors. All good deal, you save a decent bit of money with it. Next up, we have the Dark Angels Inner Circle Task Force. You get the Lion, 2 boxes of Deathwing Knights, 2 boxes of Inner Circle Companions, and a Terminator Chaplain. This is another pretty actual good value for what you get. You get a big centerpiece figure, supporting things you're going to use, and Inner Circle Companions you're going to use. And next up for the Imperial Knights, the Valor Strike Lance, you have a Knight Paladin, and 2 boxes of Armature Helverins. Again, this is all stuff you are actually going to use, which is why I like these Battleforces more. But now that we have gone through what is in each of these boxes, let's go into the actual value breakdowns. Now, I have broken down this data in a way that makes sense for me, so let's just kind of run through this line by line. We have our year, our army, our price, the MSRP at the time of release, the MSRP as of today, the difference in the year of release, and the difference of today. So, our quick data punch down, for Space Marines in 2021, we would have spent $210 for $330 worth of minis, which for our current MSRP of $433.50, which is amazing. The difference for year of release is $120. The difference for today is $223.50. A really, really, really good deal. But that's if you bought it back then. The data I really want to focus on right now is the difference today. The Death Guard had a difference on year of release of 100, but today you'd be saving $151.50, which is almost $100 less than what you save with the Space Marines. And then the Necrons have the exact same thing. And then the Orks have, again, the exact same thing. The Adeptus Mechanicus have the exact same thing, and the Mechanicus have the exact same thing. The prices on the Space Marines have just risen the most. It almost feels astronomical. And then if you look at now, for Adeptus Mechanicus, you're getting savings of more than what you did in the 2021 box, for $107.50. For the Imperial Knights, you get $128. For the Necrons, it's a saving of $99.50, compared to the $90 of 2021, so better deal. The Tau Empire's $95 is better than the Orc $76. That's the only thing I really can compare it to, because it's a Xeno faction. It's better than the Necron's $90. And then the Dark Angels save $134. Once again, being your best value deal. The interesting thing I like about this hyper-selected data point is how it shows Space Marines are overpriced. I can't avoid that joke at all, no matter how much I want to. But I very much believe Space Marines are very overpriced. The rest of the price increases have they've been a lot, actually, but they haven't been nearly as astronomical as the Space Marine. If you bought 2 of those Battleforce boxes, you could sell all of them individually on the secondary market, each for double value. Like, it's just ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And even with the $30 price increase, I don't know, it doesn't feel like we're getting as good of a deal, if that makes sense. We're getting less minis in a lot of the 2024 boxes than we did in the 2021, just because the minis are more expensive in general. If we got the same type of model count for the Space Marines 2021 Battleforce, that would be a really good deal, but we don't get that anymore. That is one of the biggest problems with modern day Games Workshop, in my opinion. By the way, this entire video has made me really, really, really want to just make a very long video about the inflation rate of Games Workshop and the value of everything. But anyway, now let's go on to the more fun part of this video, or the other half of this video, the Age of Sigmar boxes. Now, looking at the Warhammer boxes, you only really get half the story. The Age of Sigmar boxes are the other half of the story. So let's start with what we have on the 2021 side. Just like the Warhammer 40,000, all of these retail for $210 in value. but we have far less to go through because Age of Sigmar gets only 4 Battleforce boxes a year. For the Lumineth Realm Lords, we get Venari Shining Host, Wardens, Blade Lords, Lord Regent, Dawn Riders, and a Star Shard Ballista. A very beautiful looking royal host. Now, you might notice that for the Soulblight Gravelords, I didn't mention anything about how they play. That's because I've never fought against Soulblight Gravelords as an Age of Sigmar player. However, and then my favorite faction, Ossiarch Bonereapers, we have the Mortison Tithe Echelon. 2 boxes of Mortek Guards, a Gothazar Harvester, a Mortek Crawler, Necropolis Stalker, Bone Shaper, and Soul Reaper. This is a really weird box for me. This is a very good starting out, buy and get the kitchen sink. But if you're a veteran player, it's probably not worth it. But I feel like that's the same for a lot of these Battleforce boxes, and if you were an OBR player back in 2021 and you bought this, you got off good. I wish I was you. We start with the Soulblight Gravelords. We're getting the Revenant Legion, which is some Blood Knights, 2 boxes of zombies, some Death Rattle Skeletons, and Laka Vi. And finally, for our 2021 boxes, we have the Hedonites of Slaanesh, the Cyberite Blade Carnival, the Blissbarb Archers, Blissbarb Seekers, Slangor Fiendbloods, Simbarish Twin Souls, and Shardspeaker of Slaanesh. A pretty darn good Battleforce box that benefits Slaanesh players well to have. Everything is stuff you want to run. The 2024 boxes are, again, just 4 of them, have a decent amount of value in them as well. Again, all these retail for $240. Starting with Cities of Sigmar, we have the Founding Foray. We have a Fusel Major on Ogre, a Free Guild Marshal plus Envoy, Command Corps, Fusiliers, Iron Road Great Cannon, and some Cavaliers. An amazing battle force that again has everything you would want to have. In fact, if you could get 2 of these, that would be an amazing start to this army. You could probably just resell the Command Corps and the extra Marshal plus Relic Envoy, and you'd be A-okay. Next up, we have the FleshEater Courts, the Charnel Grand Jury. We have Grand Justice Gourmain, some Crypt Guard, 2 times Morbeg Knights, a Crypt Infernal Courtier, and a Crypt Haunter Courtier. This is stuff you want to always be running with FEC. It's really good to have. An amazing starter box. I don't know if I'd recommend buying 2 of them, though. Next up, we have the Rekka Mob, almost, 800 points of Ironjawz, which is really good deal. We have some Ard Boys, 2 boxes, 2 boxes of Brute Ragers, which can be built as their alternates, and a Mogrunter. This is a box you can buy twice and get value out of, because everything except the Ard Boys can be built in different ways. And having 40 Ard Boys is not bad. I know a lot of people who run 40 Ard Boys. Is it a large chunk of your army? Of course. But hey, it does the job it's supposed to do. And for the Maggotkin of Nurgle, we have the Shutterblight Sis Battle Force, the Rotmire Creed Warband, the Puskirl Blight Lords, 2 boxes of Puskirl Blight Lords, and a Harbinger of Decay. A pretty solid Maggotkin of Nurgle Battle Force, although it feels a little weird that they have the Rotmire Creed Warband in there, in my opinion. Now let's talk values. So, Age of Sigmar, in my opinion, is a game that has felt the inflation of Games Workshop a little less. In 2021, for a retail price of $210, you averaged a $300 MSRP between all of the Battleforce boxes. In 2024, you averaged more like a $340 MSRP. And yeah, you're paying the extra $30, but you're getting a bit more out of it. Current MSRP actually matches down the line, and that's where we get weird. The difference year of release and the difference today are not that different in the 2021 lines. And if you were just to look at that last difference today line, you could probably be excused for believing most of these came out in the same year, except possibly the Lumineth and the Hedonites of Slaanesh. I think, and this probably proves in my mind, because I am looking at this with confirmation bias, that this just proves Age of Sigmar is a slightly cheaper game, and that Games Workshop is not as aggressively pricing it anymore, because unlike 40k, where they know everyone will buy it, I think Age of Sigmar is a game system where they feel like they can price people out. But again, this is highly selected data. I am going to be making a much longer video in the future, as I mentioned, I was going over the other data set, that just compares the games and inflation over time. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun for me to make, but I can't guarantee timelines. I'm hoping to have it out by the end of January. If this type of content interests you, please let me know, because I like this type of stuff. It is what I went to college for. It's fun. And to wrap all of this up, I hope you had a lot of fun listening to me ramble about the prices of battle forces, and how Warhammer 40,000 Space Marines are really overpriced. This was a fun video to make, and I hope it was as enjoyable to watch as it was for me to make. I will have a video coming out next week about fun games you should try in 2025, and then we're going into 2025 strong. I already have several videos in queue. I will be starting off my 2025 with a review of Bolt Action, followed by a review / why you should play Saga, and then going more into some smaller games I have covered in the past in depth. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. This last year has been huge for my YouTube channel, and I really enjoy the fact that I have so many familiar names in the comments all the time saying nice things. If you're someone who started with me, don't worry, Star Wars Legion 2.0 content is still on the horizon. Have a wonderful day all, and have a happy holidays.